On the morning of August 15th, 2002, the sun rose over Oak Level like any other day, casting its warm light over the quiet streets and neatly kept homes. To outsiders, it was an ordinary day filled with the usual sounds of life: birds chirping, the distant hum of traffic, and the soft chatter of neighbors greeting each other. Inside the home of Michael and Mary Short, however, darkness was waiting, silent and patient. Michael was a respected member of the community, hardworking and friendly, known to those around him as reliable and trustworthy. Mary was devoted to her family, caring deeply for their children and the life they had built together. They had a 9-year-old daughter, Jennifer, full of curiosity and light, who loved her family and the innocence of childhood. None of them could have imagined that their ordinary day would descend into horror. Michael's morning routine included working in his garage, a space filled with tools, automotive parts, and the hum of machinery. That day, he planned to tackle a small repair on his vehicle, unaware that his life and the lives of his loved ones were about to be violently ended. Chris Thompson, an employee and acquaintance, arrived at the Short residence that morning to check on Michael. What he found would haunt him forever. Michael lay lifeless in the garage, a single gunshot wound to his head, his body still in the position he had been in moments before death claimed him. The metallic scent of blood mingled with the faint aroma of oil and gasoline, an eerie contrast to the everyday scene of work that had been expected. Chris moved through the house, fear gnawing at his insides, and discovered Mary Short, her body on the bed. Her life ended with the same merciless precision as her husband. The reality was almost impossible to process. Both parents executed in cold blood, their home transformed from a sanctuary into a scene of unthinkable violence. And then there was Jennifer. She was missing. Her room was undisturbed, toys scattered on the floor, her bed neatly made, her belongings untouched. The innocence of a child's space remained, yet the child herself was gone. Panic gripped all who arrived, and the police were immediately called. A massive search was launched. Volunteers combed the surrounding woods, fields, and roads, flashlights slicing through the early morning shadows. Search dogs strained at their leads, sniffing desperately for a trace, for a clue, for anything that could lead them to the missing girl. Amber alerts were issued, and the community held its collective breath. But for days, Jennifer remained elusive, her absence growing heavier in the hearts of those who knew her. Each passing hour intensified the fear that something far worse had occurred than anyone could have imagined. Weeks went by, and the initial shock hardened into a chilling dread. Residents spoke in hushed tones, locking doors that had previously stood open in trust, wary of strangers who passed too close to the Short home. Rumors swirled. Who could commit such a crime? Was it someone they knew? A neighbor? A stranger who had passed through their peaceful town? Questions multiplied, but answers remained elusive. Then, 6 weeks later, the nightmare deepened. Nearly 35 miles south of the Short home, 2 dogs, roaming with their owner, made a horrifying discovery. A piece of what appeared to be a wig caught their attention. Upon closer inspection, it was revealed to be a fragment of a human skull. Bone fragments and teeth were scattered beneath a rural bridge, silent witnesses to the unspeakable crime. Forensic teams were called in, methodically cataloging each piece, trying to piece together the story that death had left behind. It was confirmed. The remains were Jennifer Short. Like her parents, she had been executed, a single shot to the head ending her young life with cruel efficiency. The brutality of the murders was staggering. The lack of forced entry suggested someone familiar with the family or skilled enough to bypass conventional barriers. Nothing of value had been stolen, and yet the family was gone. Authorities were left with more questions than answers, the motive remaining an impenetrable mystery. The case transformed from a missing persons investigation into a grim triple homicide, one that would haunt investigators, the community, and anyone who dared to learn the details. As the investigation deepened, detectives examined every potential lead. Friends, acquaintances, and neighbors were questioned repeatedly. Every alibi was scrutinized, every statement compared and re-examined. Maps were spread across tables, pins marking locations that might hold clues. Surveillance footage was non-existent or unhelpful. Motive, opportunity, and means were all considered, but nothing concrete emerged. The police faced a wall of silence and uncertainty, and as days turned into months, frustration mounted. Over time, numerous theories surfaced. Some speculated that it was a targeted attack, perhaps related to Michael Short's professional life or personal relationships. Others believed it was a random act of violence, an unprovoked intrusion by a transient stranger with unknown motives. Yet the lack of evidence left each theory hanging, incomplete and unprovable. The chilling conclusion was that the killer could have been anyone, anywhere, moving among the community unnoticed, leaving behind devastation without trace. Meanwhile, Oak Level itself was forever changed. The murders shattered the illusion of safety. Families became protective to the point of paranoia. Children no longer played freely, and every stranger was eyed with suspicion. The town, once peaceful and close-knit, now carried an undercurrent of fear. Candlelight vigils were held, memorials erected, and residents tried to grasp a semblance of control in the face of chaos. Yet, the haunting thought persisted. If this could happen to the Shorts, it could happen to anyone. The Short family murders remain unsolved. Each passing year thickens the shadow of mystery that hangs over Oak Level. Investigators continue to revisit evidence, re-interview witnesses, and pursue leads that may have been overlooked, but the trail is cold and the truth remains stubbornly hidden. Forensic technology advances, yet the killer's identity remains obscured, leaving behind only grief, questions, and the lingering presence of horror in a town that once believed in the safety of ordinary life. For those who study true crime, the case stands as a textbook example of calculated personal violence and the devastating effects it has on a community. The story of the Short family is not just a tale of murder, but of the fragility of safety, the unpredictability of evil, and the pain left behind when innocence is destroyed. Every corner of the Short home, every path in the surrounding woods, and every quiet street in Oak Level carries the memory of that dark summer. The horror of the Short family murders lies not only in the violence, but in the silence that followed. There were no confessions, no clear motives, no resolution to offer comfort. The family, once full of life and hope, became a cautionary tale whispered among residents and true crime enthusiasts alike. Jennifer's young life, full of promise, ended alongside her parents, leaving an emptiness that could never be filled. The killer, whether known or unknown, vanished into the shadows, leaving behind an enduring legacy of fear. To this day, the case is revisited by investigators and journalists searching for the missing pieces. Evidence is combed over, witnesses re-interviewed, and leads that once seemed trivial are reconsidered. Yet, after all these years, the Short family murders remain an enigma, a reminder of the darkness that can lurk behind familiar faces in quiet neighborhoods and within what we believe to be safe spaces. The story endures, a chilling testament to how swiftly and irrevocably life can change. For Oak Level, Virginia, the memory of that day and the events that followed are etched into the town's history. Candlelight vigils, memorials, and news reports cannot erase the chilling realization that evil can strike in any community, against any family, at any time. The Short family murders are not just a cold case. They are a story that continues to haunt, a narrative of terror, grief, and unanswered questions that refuse to fade. The tragedy serves as a stark reminder that the ordinary can quickly become extraordinary in its horror, that ordinary lives can be shattered in moments, and that the echoes of such violence ripple through families and communities for decades. The Short family, once a symbol of love and normalcy, now represents the fragility of safety, the unpredictability of evil, and the enduring mystery of a crime that has never been solved. And so, the tale of the Short family murders continues, whispered through the streets of Oak Level, recounted in true crime forums, and remembered by those who dare to confront the reality of real-life horror. It is a story that chills the spine, a reminder that some darkness can never be fully illuminated, and some questions remain eternally unanswered. The Short family's legacy is one of love lost, lives taken, and a mystery that will forever haunt the minds of those who hear their story.